Hello, I'm Chef Don McMillan. Welcome to Simple and Delicious Recipes. All right, I'm not cooking today, but I've got something even more important. As you know, and I've said it over and over again, your most important tools are your hands, right? Therefore, the tools that you do use in the kitchen have to be correct, have to be right, using the right tool for the right job. And one of the wrong tools to use is a dull knife. So my video today is knife sharpening mistakes most people do. I'm going to show you also how to correct them. Now, how do you know your knife is dull? Well, of course, the tomato test, we all know that, right? But the way professionals do is they take a knife, and if they can cut through a piece of paper, I said if they could cut through a, well, I guess that didn't work. We are going to make sure that you can cut through a piece of paper, because I'm going to show you how to correct your mistakes simply by using the right tool for the right job. So I used to live in Philadelphia and used to visit Baltimore quite a lot. And the one thing I noticed, those row houses would have 3 marble steps. And if you looked at them, you'll see that there's kind of like a bevel in each one of those steps. And I noticed that something also in common about that is that a lot of the inhabitants, when it came time to sharpen their knives, guess what? They went outside the door and sharpened their knives on the marble step. Now you would think, hey, that's a good way to do it, right? It's been done that way for centuries. Well, maybe so, but really not, right? I'm going to show you how to kick it up a notch. You don't need to go outside the door and use your steps, nor pick up a porcelain plate to do it. There's much easier and better ways to do it. And here's how I do it. If you don't have a knife sharpening device, you probably have a porcelain plate or the back of a porcelain plate. I'm talking about the unglazed part. You can hear that grit. Look, and you can do this to sharpen a knife, although not the recommended one, but sometimes we come across those things and do it like that. However, I've got some more wonderful tips. Check this out. So here's a mistake a lot of people make, and I mean a lot of people. They have a whetstone. We've got this whetstone right here, and they want to put a liquid on there, and what do? They put salad oil. Don't do that. Trust me, don't do that. It'll gob up your stone. You'll have to scrub the devil out of it. Trust me, you never want to do that. It's not designed for it. You can use water. That works just as well and probably just perfect. But I also have some 3-in-1 oil. They do make a stone, an oil for the stone, and you want to put maybe a dime size on the bottom. You don't want to flood it, okay? And then take the base of your knife and then distribute the oil just like that. Now, here's how I like to do it, is I like to do it about a 19-20 degree angle, and I always work from the bolt to the tip. And I do it this way, holding the knife firmly here and pressure here with my fingers and do that. And when I do it one way, I come back and do the other way. So you see how I'm going? That direction and then back this direction. And depending on how dull your knife is, you'll have to do it a few times. Now, a lot of stones have 2 sides, and you don't want to start with the coarse grit. That's a finishing part. Let me just go back and forth. So, after I've used the stone, the next thing I want to do is use the steel. The steel is designed to keep a sharp knife sharp. Okay, it won't sharpen a dull knife, but if you've got a sharp knife, it will keep it sharp if you use it correctly and use it frequently. This will stop the knife from hitting your hand, and it very simply, it works this way from the bolt to the tip, just like we were sharpening right there, right there. 2 or 3 times at about a 20 degree angle is all it takes. Now, if you're afraid to do that, you can do it this way because the steel works in that same direction, or you can do it this way. Now, I don't like doing this way because I sometimes hit the board, and I hate to do that because I work so hard sharpening the knife, but you can do it in that way as well. And that's how it's done. So I also want to show you another very popular pull-through sharpener. This particular one is designed for your standard knives and also the Sentoku knives. Those are the Japanese style knives that have little riblets on them, okay? I'm gonna use the standard size, and one mistake a lot of people make is they put it like in the middle of the board. Well, what happens when you pull it through, you hit the board. Not a good thing, because all the good work you did up here, you're negating it just by hitting the board. Bring it to the edge, okay? Another mistake people have is when they're sharpening, they are surrounded by other people, specifically little people, okay? Children, pets. See if you can push them aside, because if you're pulling this knife through, sometimes that knife is going this way. We don't want to make that mistake, all right? And I'm always caution about that. Even when I teach knife skills classes, I always tell them, be sure there's nobody around when they're doing that, okay? That's the other mistake. When using this particular device, I always like to sharpen my knife from the bolt to the tip, okay? So from the bolt to the tip this way. Now this is the coarse grind, and when you pull it through, you see how the knife is going back there? That's why you want to be, you know, alone in the kitchen or not around a lot of people. Pull it through. Now, there is a finer point, okay? If you just want to give it a little bit of a touch-up, you can pull it through in that way. But notice that I'm pulling the knife all the way through, and I'm putting about 20 pounds of pressure on it. I don't know how you would judge that, but enough pressure. You don't do it lightly. You just want to get enough pressure in there, and you can just feel the wheels turning as you're pulling it through. Okay, and if you want, you can touch it up with the finer point right there. Now, always, as I say, finish with the steel. Now, when I pick up a knife out of the knife block or out of the drawer, we have a finer tip, and I always do this. Number 2, let's see how this worked out. Ta-da! Perfecto. Okay, the last tip I'm going to share with you today, so important, a knife guard. If you put your knives in the drawer, don't just throw them in there. Doesn't work. And also, another problem that people do all the time, they put them in the dish machine. Don't do it. There are chemicals in your dish machine. They rattle around and bang each other. Worst things you can do. You can even take your handles from your knife and it could be loosening them up and you get bacteria in there. Don't do it, okay? Put it in a knife guard, just like this. Here's how it works, folks. Start with the bolt, always start with the bolt, and then go in with the tip, push in with your hand like that. Now you can put it in the drawer, you can put it in your bag, and it goes without saying, never ever put your knives in a sink. Water or not, people reach in there, they're always so helpful. I wish they would more often, but they're always so helpful. And what do you think they're gonna do? They're gonna grab that knife and then somebody gets hurt. Don't do that. Listen, this has been a lot of fun talking to you about knife sharpening mistakes. We've got many videos on how to handle knives, how to cut and do different things. Love for you to put some comments down below. Tell us what you think. Tell us, you know, maybe you've got some questions that you'd like answered. Maybe you can throw some information my way. I'd be happy to share it. I do respond to each and every comment. Please sign up for Patreon. Your support helps us tremendously. We can do more of these wonderful videos, okay? Hit that like button, and if you haven't yet, subscribe and share. It would mean so much to me if you did that. I'd love to see all those numbers come up on all the people that are watching our video and sharing it. Thank you so much, and as always, remember, our recipes are simple and very delicious.